The hip-hop writer is a creator, composing understanding words of cultured brilliance, powering a rebalance of the elements equally. Pages of rejuvenated reaffirmation, simply the almighty leadership of insightful craft work that stands to build through any confrontation born to be. Yet his daily duty is as a journalist that questions properly and uses his ears to filter the real. And as the art decays by dilution, he concentrates the best again and again, exposing in the print. Today's journalist, tomorrow's historian, he listens to share. Here is that necessary attempt, executed again and again and again. This is the Power Right Show on S.STREET Media. This is your brother, the lone low life with the home-sewn garment. The Boricua with the build, the true and living God, stepping in score, Sunyas Allah, a.k.a. Skillustrator Low. And we're on S.STREET Media, the evolution of media, where every intrigue will have its own show, every incredible thought will have its own episode, and every timeless insight will be archived. As I always say, this is a show about my element of hip-hop, what I like to call the writer of art and science on music. The only show in history on this hip-hop writer element that I, a veteran of over a quarter century, helped to pioneer. You know what? And we're going to do some more pioneering now. But first, it's time to open up your wallets. Before we do the pioneering, you know what I mean? You know, first, I got my books out, The Reel of 2020. That's an ebook. You contact me. I will email it straight to you. It's only $5 on the Cash App Sunyas. Let me know your email address, and you got the book immediately. You know what I mean? And it basically is a 70-plus page analysis of the best musicians and artists of the last year, bracketed in a revolutionary new system of ciphers that categorize this entire musical universe. So everyone that is worthwhile, you know what I mean? I bracketed them in different brackets, put them down, everything. And it isn't just a favorites list or what I think is just the best. It's lets you decide based on how I detail them, you know what I mean? And you could go on your exploration your own way. And that exploration can begin, really, with The Filtered Reel, Essays from the Invisible Renaissance, a book I have out on paperback, available at Amazon, or if you DM me, Sunyez, S-U-N-E-Z, on IG, Sunyez7, that's the number 7, Twitter, or contact my email, sunyez97@gmail.com. Get your autographed copy if you want one. You know what I mean? Just put some scribble on it. You know what I mean? I'll leave you with a nice little aphorism that no one will have, right? But The Filtered Reel is really where I begin to put down the last 10 years from 2010 on, what I call this era of the invisible renaissance. You know what I mean? And I think what over the last, let's say, since 2019 in its publication, I think this has proven to be more and more a definitive book as we go along. You know what I mean? And I just began. I just gave a nice snapshot of the entire world, not the in-depth snapshot detail that I'm soon to give. So you got to begin there if you're interested, right? Got to give a shout out to my brother DJ Toshi. I host his Classic Storm Radio podcast. We just finished episode 293. It's going to come out soon. It's not out yet, but it's going to have the good people. Talk to Saint and DJ Emski. And also, let's give you a double dose. We also had Pause One. You know what I mean? Brother out there in LA doing his thing, though. Some great music out there. And some of my favorite works he's party to. He's also a Renaissance man in this work. Got a podcast out, Pause One podcast. He just did Elder Sensei. He's got a lot of great people. Hip-hop people, different people, you know, all associated in some way with hip-hop. And, of course, though, the last show we had, episode 92, got to give a shout-out to the great Nejma Nefertiti. It was an incredible build. I got a lot of love for that build, you know, really sharing for what we were able to share and the insight that people wanted. So I'm really thankful for that. You know, and last but not least, though, peace to the gods and earths. Because I had a great time, though. I was only at Show and Prove yesterday at a law school in Mecca for about an hour or so. You know what I mean? I went with my little girl, so it was wherever her whim was taking me. You know what I mean? So when she got tired, though, we decided to go wherever she wanted to go, though. You know, but it ended up me buying toys anyway. That's really the whim. It ended up me buying toys and a bag of chips. You know what I mean? That's how it goes. You know what I mean? But it was really great. You know. And right now, you know what? We have one of the guests who I think is gonna be. Not gonna be. He's already cementing himself as one of the greats in this next decade of what I like to call the invisible renaissance. You know what I mean? He's making incredible music. He's giving us great work. And the thing about it is that he's doing it in small snapshots. You know, that's my word today. Snapshots. You know what I mean? Small 30-minute clips, 20-minute clips, all the stuff that a lot of, old school, obsessive boom bappers talk about, he's doing. You know what I mean? And we're going to talk about it when we get him on. We're trying to get him on right now. But we should soon.
Peace.
Peace. Do we have Noah the Flood on air with us right now?
Yes, sir.
Indeed. Peace to the God. You know what I mean?
Peace.
Noah the Flood. You know, if I could wax a little poetic about you, God, for a little bit, I think that you're going to be, I think that you're already cementing yourself as one of the new stars of this invisible renaissance as it continues. A lot of people don't know, they're going out there. I see some journalists, though. I was researching Noah the Flood. I see some journalists. They use the word renaissance and shit like that. You know what I mean? I'm the only journalist here with slang. You know what I mean? With slang, my own slang. Detail this era. And when I said that this was the invisible renaissance, ever since I coined from 2010 on this invisible renaissance era, and I coined that since 2012, though. I know. I was there. I was at Spit Gems Fuck the Radio release party. And I saw all these MCs, and I had Rock Marciano playing. I'm talking to Napoleon the Legend. I'm seeing Constant Flow just bully his way on, Nems cursing every Gunther out in the building. And I was like, yeah, this is some kind of renaissance here, this invisible renaissance. Because nobody's seen this shit if I don't tell you. You know what I mean? And we need new guys. We need new guys, or else it's going to get weak. It's going to get stale. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the 2010s, his brother Noah the Flood comes on, and he comes on with a lot of hype. You know what I mean? And that's probably why I didn't cover Noah the Flood in the beginning, though. I just let it simmer. You know what I mean? I said, I'm not going to ask him about fucking beef. You know what I mean? He put out an excellent record, though, and he caught niggas biting. You know what I mean? They were chomping away, though, and they thought, nobody knows Noah the Flood. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And they got caught out there. You know what I mean? they did, and we're going to detail all that. But Noah's a stylist, a rugged stylist, cut phrases, flowing phrases, a master of the high inflection. You know what I'm saying? Like he punches every the end of his bars punch you in the head. You know what I mean? And it's some of the most riveting stuff. And he floats from producer to producer and uncannily keeps picking the best beats out of that producer. You know what I mean? I was talking to a couple of MCs the last couple of weeks, and they keep saying, like, yo, this producer, it's not really the producer that's whack. It's the MC that picks the whack beats from the producer. And boy, no one is proven the worth of a producer more than Noah the Flood. So Noah the Flood, peace to have you on, man. It's great.
Peace.
Indeed. I want to start, before I go into all the details, I want you to give a little background, you know what I mean, of your journey. Because, they say you're a Texas MC, but I'm claiming you're East Coast. You're Metro, you know what I mean? You sound like us, you know what I mean?
They're all around,
right.
Dallas, Texas, Sudan, Truth Known, by way of Jersey City, Jersey, by way of Flint, Michigan, by way of Europe. So I'm there's one mix of a lot of things, you know what I mean?
Indeed, that's definitely a lot of mix, you know what I mean? And you know what I mean? Like if I could say, where were you at though when you were young and you said, this hip hop thing is how I'm going to express myself, or try to?
You said when I was young?
Yeah, when you were young, where were you? What city were you in though when you actually decided, like, you know, as a kid, like I love this hip hop shit. I'm gonna try, you know, working on it.
That probably was in Kaiserslautern, Germany. You know what I'm saying? Like on a military base. My father's in the military and all that.
Yeah, I find that intriguing though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I would think that it was a way to express yourself though in such a foreign place.
Yeah, tapped in. I had an older sister, you know what I'm saying? And, we get up on stuff that's in the States, and it's always a way to find what's the new thing, you know what I mean?
Indeed. You know what I mean? And, I hear, fast forward to that moment where I don't know. You say you started recording around the late 2000s, 2010s, started to get your stuff off on SoundCloud and stuff like that. What led you to that? What plateau did you reach, though, where you said, listen, I think I need to record and release some of this stuff?
I was just experimenting. I tried before to put my music on SoundCloud. I got like 5 plays. Like for a long time, man. I just took my music off of there, and then I guess a year later or whatever, I tried it again, and then just somebody got a hold of it, and then started going like.
Yeah, I find this intriguing because it didn't just take hold, but you're one of the MCs where everybody that's good is working with you, and they're working with you before audiences notice it. You know what I'm saying? The Planet Asias, the Dirty Digs, these guys don't just work with anybody. Supreme Cerebral, you know what I mean? And how did you connect with all these people so quickly? You know what I mean?
I guess that's all like the same thing, like that's all the whole gold chain thing. Started Killer Cali, Planet Asia, you know what I'm saying? Ring with 30 Dicks, you know what I'm saying? And then Supreme Cerebral, he's gold chain,
Indeed.
So I mean, for me, it's like surreal. You know what I mean? Because go chain like superheroes and shit.
Indeed. Yeah. They seem like superheroes. I would think. You know what I mean? But you're absolutely hanging with them. You know what I mean? Like, what a leadoff song. On that Dirty Digs album, the Gratuity. You know what I mean? Like, not too many leadoff songs in an album that good. You know what I mean? Where you're like, you have to get the whole album, you know what I mean? And it's with Planet Asia, going step for step with him, There's just expert stuff, you know what I mean? It's not ordinary, It's not ordinary, But I want to ask you too, though, because, I'm saying peace to the God, peace to everything like that. What was the journey? Because also I think it's curious to people, you know what I'm saying? Obviously the knowledge of self, the truth that we teach, us being 5%, is that the original man is God. And those ideas and truths that we share, the ideas and the insights. And with all your traveling, though, how did you get knowledge of self? Where did you get the knowledge of self?
Oh, that was actually in Europe. You know what I'm saying? I was sparked by one of my friends. So at the youth center, my name Lloyd Unique, Allah. And it started from there. It was at a time when it was infused in the music, heavy, and I knew people that was, you know what I mean? And I just supposed I'm going to learn, It's on from there.
No, that's definitely peace. Indeed. That's definitely peace because it's a powerful element to your music though. So anyone that's a real fan of Know the Flood is gonna get these ideas, but non-didactically. Like you're not preaching, you're not throwing it over their head though. It really comes across as the fight to live and the survival and it's all part of the warrior ethos that comes out in the music, you know what I mean? You know? A lot of Noah the Flood music too plays like it plays like slowed down warrior anthems, you know what I mean? Like if we took a real amped up anthem and we slowed it down, you know what I mean? To chill with it. You know, it's a weird effect that you have on listeners, you know what I mean? And definitely listeners like me that know a lot about what you're saying and definitely subscribe, you know, to the ethos, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's talk quickly. You know, I want to go, you know, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the air, right, is because the pandemic, I didn't get to interview a lot of people during the pandemic. And 2020, I thought was a brilliant year for you. If I had to say if there's a breakout year that proves that you're on another level, though, not just making a good record, you know, quality records, you know what I mean? But able to make great records of all kinds. And you did it with different producers for whole projects, and you did it with multiple producers on one project. And it's just one of the exceptional years that I listened to in 2020, though, which was a very packed year, by the way. You know what I mean? But I got to rewind. I got to rewind. Before we go into detail about some of these records from 2020 into this year, I just want to give a recap to the people, though. Let's talk about some of these records, though. You know what I mean? And you give me some stories, some details, you know what I mean? And how you see it now. I can't really start the Know the Flood catalog without talking about, you know, where it all starts. Chill Life Mathematics. The first one, you know what I mean? With the cover that looks like the same as what Nas and Kanye had for their album. You know what I mean? And when we search the timing, we do a simple search for the timing. No, yours was released way earlier. You know what I mean? I tried to chalk it up. I was like, could it be like when everybody kept finding, you know, that Lou Donaldson drum roll? You know what I'm saying? At the same time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it really looked like some designer out there that was making that cover bit. You know what I'm saying? Or didn't care that you had it already. You know what I'm saying? And there was a lot of articles. There was a lot of talk, though. And I keep it real. I didn't really follow. I cared more about what you were doing on the record. But when you look back on that now, and just a couple of years later, how do you see all that and what you did and everything like that? You know, and what did you do? You know, what has been what you've been doing with it? Is there anything you're doing with that now, or?
I mean, you know, it came and went. I guess you know what I'm saying. I mean, it's history. I mean, it's part of my. I guess it's part of my story. I don't know if that's I don't know if that's some real shit or what. You know what I'm saying? I know you can't pay for that kind of promotion.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just unbelievable, you know what I mean? I mean, I heard about this happening before with artists, but you know what I'm saying? My first joint, Nas and Kanye, come on, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Even being you know, I mean, if I'm coming in that arena and I'm being put in that same sentence, but for anything, you know, and all those platforms, you know. Shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you followed up with the number 2, though, and both of those albums really, they're really powerful. They really set you off. Architect did those, you know what I mean? I think it also set off Architect too, you know, and people started to look at Architect as well, you know what I mean? People started to mine Architect and everything like that because there's some great music on there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Architect he a whole legend. Like he produced one of the first records on Stone and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like a Bay Area legend. Area.
Indeed.
Well, you know what I mean?
Well
But
deserved.
it's like underground.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah.
You know, when you look back on those records, though, what are the things that you learn, though? You know what I mean? Like, because I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something, Noah. Um, a lot of artists would have milked that beef forever. You know what I mean? And instead, you let it be a spotlight, and then you made good records. You know what I mean? And I'm putting good records mildly. I don't consider your records good. I consider them much higher than that. But you didn't dwell on that beef. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely something. No.
Yeah, I could have went crazy. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, listen,
yeah.
Now we ain't in it, you know.
Yeah, you know, people don't like the way Al
Really,
Divino
I just think great minds think alike. Really. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know.
That shit just happened.
Yeah, because, you know, people have a little bit of a Twitter mishap, and then they make a whole record about the shit. You know what I mean? They make a whole album. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
You know, right? I don't like Al Divino, though. Buy my album. Al Divino is a jerk. You know what I mean? Shit like that. You know what I mean? Peace to Al Divino, though. I'm just saying. I always find that funny, though, because he's not I don't know. He's not a jerk to me, so, you know, I don't have that experience. Didn't relate. But, you know, but,
yeah.
we go through this catalog, though, right? And for the listener, if you go to, Noah the Flood, right? You know, that's spelled NLWAAH, the Flood, and then 7.bandcamp. You get all of this great stuff here. You know what I mean? And of course, you get the Trill Life Mathematics. You get Trill Life Mathematics 2. But you also get, in between those two albums, though, I wanted to ask you about Private Stock, right? Private Stock comes out right after Trill Life Mathematics, though. And I think I find this to be a very important record. I insinuated to it because of the gratuity. You know what I mean? The song you did leading off the album with Planet Asia, and you did a video for it and everything like that. But see, what happens is that when they're a famous artist, it's not just rap. If they're a famous artist and they do something wrong, everybody's trying to justify it. You know what I mean? Oh, you know, he didn't know, he didn't do he didn't mean it, Kanye didn't mean it, and shit like that. But, you know, they screwed up anyway, because even in the annals of originality, though, they were last. You know what I'm saying? On that one, right? So even if they didn't bite, they were last. But sometimes it could work. It could work negatively to the artist, because then people are trying like, oh, let me see why this guy is whack and stuff. And then you came and hit him with the gratuity. And I just think it's a signature record in your career. You know what I'm saying? It just shows that you can go bar for bar with the best. Planet Asia didn't go soft on you. He gave it all that he had, and you were right there with him. And it's just a great song. You know what I mean? And then you're working with Dirty Diggs. Obviously, that's what we were saying. The whole Gold Chain, that whole clique out there, Killer Cali, all of that. Making that record, though, what was your strategy when you were making that album, though? This is one of your early albums. You know, you're going from throwing things on SoundCloud to having to make a complete record with really great producers. By the time you make this record with them, they're already known really well, you know, and known as great crate diggers. You know what I'm saying? And what's your strategy there?
Okay, well, Private Stock was actually my first album that I made.
Indeed.
You know,
Okay.
It came out. It came out second.
It came out second. You know. Okay, see, that's so it was already there. The skills are already there. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about making it.
Like mathematics, I was having fun.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy, though. Yeah. So tell me about working with Dirty Diggs that first time, though. You know, are they showing you beats, giving you a stack of beats? You know, are they asking you what you're trying to say, look for? What are they? How is it working with them?
Yeah, they was hitting me with beats, and I was killing them. You know, I knew that was my opportunity. You know what I'm saying? To get it. You know what I mean? Like 30 days. You know what I'm saying? That's the Gold Chain. That's those the legends. And did the shit already, so I knew I had to deliver.
Indeed. You know, when I'll probably ask you this repeatedly, right? But in your whole catalog, right? And I'll make notes of it. In your whole catalog, you do a lot of things that I'm not going to call them boom bappers. I consider you in that lane as well. All great hip hop music to me is boom bap. I don't give a shit. But a lot of purists, though, they try to go against like, oh, I want drums on my stuff. I want a third verse on shit. You know what I mean? I want a long album, though. You know what I'm saying? And I'm cool with that if it's the person that's doing it. But it's so dope that you break all the rules. You know what I mean? You do 1 minute tracks. You do one verse on an incredible beat. You know what I mean? And what's interesting how you do it is that a lot of times you'll do like one verse and then do a chorus. And I'm like, why the fuck is he doing a chorus if he's just going to fade out after that? And you still do the chorus anyway.
Do a 35-second verse.
Right. When you're making a song, what makes a song for you, Noah? What makes it finished? Like, why is it finished? In general.
You said enough. Like, what I need, what you want me to do? like I could go ahead and just expound on some you know what I mean? It's depending on how the beat rocking, really, I guess.
Mm-hmm. This is something
sometimes it's like, oh, man, I went crazy, man. It's over.
Right. Yeah, because sometimes you'll give us two verses. Sometimes you'll give us an incredible one verse and just leave it laid out right there. You know what I mean? There are some songs, they'll be called skit. And then if you skip them, you just skip the verse because you'll throw a verse on the skit. Even though it's labeled skit. Yeah, you break all the rules though. You know what I mean? And it's one of the reasons I consider you progressive. But I think it's the window dressing. There's a lot of other things I'm going to point out, though, that I think, for you to speak on. But when you make these albums, though, because I talked to SD Knack about this, and I'm sure Al Davino's like this because he's in the studio with SD a lot. But it seems like this for you, too, that a lot of these are like, a lot like jazz sessions, like this is what you do in these particular dates with this individual. And the way it comes across, though. You know what I mean? Is there a lot of belaboring, like certain songs take a long time, or are these songs made usually at one time?
Mostly at one time. Some of them I'll sit down and write like that, but most of it, it's one like burst of energy. You know what I mean? And I just put it together.
Indeed. And look, we've gone through Private Stock. There's so much more work to go through here, right? And I'm just gonna name some of them. The follow-up, a year later, The Infallible with Dirty Diggs. I thought that was even more refined record. It had great stuff. You know what I mean? The builds were stronger, the ideas were stronger, and one thing about that I see consistent with your catalog is I have to really check this out. But whether you work with Dirty Diggs or whoever you work with, when I compare what producers give other people, I usually like the ones that you picked best. The music you picked. And I feel like a lot of the music you picked is not just based on the drum, it's based on the quality of the music, the sample quality, the orchestration. Because there's a lot of great music that you pick from people. You know what I mean? And that I don't know if you can comment on that. It's just an observation that I'm making of opinion. You know what I mean? But it's something. Yeah. A lot of guys pick lesser things from some of these producers. You know what I mean? And it bugs me out. But real quick, before we continue with the catalog and shoot our way through, I wanted to ask you about the Mali Empire. You know what I mean? Because I feel that's your clique, right? Is that your people's? Who are the Mali Empire?
Mali Empire, I could say that's me, my brother Casablanca, my brother Cappuccino. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's something was, came from my mind, you know what I mean? I was just, I kept on saying it, and then,
Right.
yo, you actually, yo, who's that? What is that?
Right. Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Yeah. When you say
I'm thinking about the L, one of the L6, you can say, like, I'm Molly Hemp, we do something to shoot for, you know what I mean, or whatever,
Indeed. Yeah, definitely. This shit is epic and exotic. You know what I mean? Yeah. When a project is produced by Mali Empire, is that you on the boards or is it Casablanca? Who is?
Well, that's me on the boards, you know what I'm saying? You get that exclusive.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's definitely peace though, because the works that you do with Casablanca is also good too. The Untouchables was a dope record. You know what I mean? That was another great record. You know what I mean? But again, listeners, we're going through a catalog that doesn't have any weak points. You know what I'm saying? All right, so for the listener, right? I'm not going to go into too much detail about the Imperial Flood, another great album. The Worst Is Yet to Come. These are all powerful albums. Noah, you're picking different beats, different people. You're getting work out of them. Some of these people, though, like, the Mariacho and of course, Mali Empire, Stu Bangers. These are people you're going to do full lengths with, in the future. But again, I want to focus on that 2020, and I'm assuming that this is a lot of the work that you just kept, it really became the namesake. For the people, I didn't go backwards here, but Noah the Flood, obviously alluding to what we the gods call the best Noah, the knower, you know what I mean? And then flipping that, the wordplay into Noah the Flood. But this was really a flood in 2020, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Are all these records, we could say, made like in 2019, or are they older than that?
2020?
Right, yeah, the 2020 albums you made. Could we say that they're older or made around 2019, or are they older?
You could say newer.
No, I got you. I'll start with this. What was interesting? I really like. I gotta say, I can't remember seeing anybody do this on the Bandcamp anymore, which I thought it just looked dope. Where you released Dope Money, you know what I mean? And you called it a maxi single, nobody uses that term anymore. So I was like, yo, I just thought it was dope, you know what I mean? Because it was basically, it's really basically one song, you know what I mean? And it's got cuts, it's got an instrumental, and then it's got like the remix, and then it's got the nice intro. But that's exactly what a maxi single was, you know what I mean? And definitely a dope song, you know what I mean? I gotta salute you on the way you flipped that right there, you know what I mean? That was definitely dope, But 2020, I guess I'll start 2020, which I thought Noah the Flood. And again, I talked about Noah the Flood in my Reel of 2020 book, and I said this. Excuse me. A hardcore stylist, Noah is a varied MC that has one of the most engaging catalogs to mine through in these times. A forceful phrase ejector on the mic. He created strong works on much music, from Stu Banger's modernized retro boom bap on Respectfully, Evil Duo's sample circus on the Noah and the Doer, and diverse choices on the piece with the magnetic. Noah 2020 is a perfect example of MC challenging the presentation of his militancy out of his own orchestra pit into those of others. You know what I mean? It's a great year, and it should be heralded and stuff. You know what I mean? And I don't know how to pronounce this old Hebrew stuff, but the first album I talked about is the Avoda album. Obviously, in Hebrew, it means work, worship, service, and produced by Mali Empire. Produced that. And tell me about making that work, because it was a short work. It's like an EP, really. It's about 5 cuts. You know what I mean? Tell me about the process of making that, when you're making these albums with the crew like that. What are you looking to do there?
It's really like That was something like a day and a half. Like it was just load another one up, do another one, load it, and
It's like a
it
jazz
was like it
session,
was literally like a big long. It's like a song. It's like a one long song, basically.
Hmm. So even though you got the different samples, you're still in that same wavelength, I guess, right? And just making one extended, because a lot of your verses are real stream of conscious. You know what I mean? They flow with
Yeah,
the ideas. They present themes. You know, and then they latch onto things, let go of things. It's something to really listen to. You know what I mean? But that I find that intriguing that you made such a work like that, because a lot of the music is very diverse. You know what I mean? And the sample game, I'm telling you, man, I don't know. I'm blown away by the quality of the music, man. That you continue to pick, you know, and that one was one of them. You know what I mean? Um, it's real good stuff. Real good stuff. You know what I mean? But one day that is impressive. That is definitely impressive. And was that done? You know, that was released late September. Was that done in 2020, like during the pandemic, or was that done before?
okay, which one?
The Avoda, the same one we're talking about. Yeah, Avoda.
Okay, a voter was, I think a voter was in 19. What?
Mm.
It's a year before.
So you.
But probably the dates on there. Probably the dates is messed up on Bandcamp.
Oh, indeed, yeah. Because it depends on when you actually like post them out there and stuff like that. You know, because we all experience them as 2020 and stuff. That's why I'm always interested, because of the pandemic and stuff. You know, and in general though, working through the pandemic though, was it easier? Was it more difficult? You know what I mean?
That's just the same. Pretty much. As far as recording, you know what I mean?
I gotta say, because you get such great beats and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Yo, let's skip to another record though, because this is a producer I think is very underused and undersolicited by other people, and that's the Mariacho. Really is great musically. You know what I mean? Harbingers of Death. You know, I thought that was a great album though. And you know, the way you start out your albums with such beautiful music, you know, like the not that way skit, it sets a great tone on it, you know what I mean? Some highlights, and if you have some thoughts on them, you know, Reality, that song, you know, it was you used a more spoken word flow on it. It was very low BPM though, you know what I'm saying? Again, stuff that people hate nowadays. They're always complaining about. You know what I mean? But there's really an emphasis when you choose stuff on the score, you know, the type of music behind you and stuff, you know what I mean? And since, you know, you go drumless a lot though, where do you find, when you think of the pocket, or even, you know, when you're rhyming and stuff, what are you thinking about? Like, where's your pocket? You know what I mean?
It's probably in the instrument or the vibe of it. I mean, if there's no drums in there, you know, you probably rhyme into a flute or something, or whatever's in there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Are you asking for beats with no drums, or this is just what people throw at you? You know what I mean?
This is what people throw. I don't even like. It seems like most of my beats got drums. You know what I'm saying? I know I was with no drum.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, you know what I mean? You know, like, yeah, absolutely, yeah. You know, I think because a lot of your songs have a groove, and the way people are really being like purists now, I hear that bass groove, but a lot of people, if they don't hear the snap of the drum, the break, kick, snare, and the whole thing, they're going, oh, that's drumless. Yeah. But to me, I'm hearing there's a lot of percussion on it. You know what I'm saying? You know, so I'm judging it that way. That's why I'm being a pain like that. You know what I mean? But there are songs here like Melly Mel that you have the up-tempo groove. There's just great stuff on this. You know what I mean? Again, this is a short work, though, this is a work where I want to get mad, but then the song comes out so nice, though. So like Melly Mel, you know what I'm saying? You know, Courage, you know, these songs don't make 2 minutes, you know what I'm saying? They're jukebox times, you know what I mean? Like the old rock and roll songs, you know, play them fast, keep them repeating it, you know what I mean? Get more money in the jukebox, you know? But and really we're in those times now, right? Because people Spotify, they stream only. But these are great works though. They feel complete, you know what I'm saying? And I think because I'm listening to these songs as one whole album, you know what I'm saying? And that, you know, since you said that some of your works are like a whole, you know, they take one day or like that, or like it felt like one song. A lot of your albums feel like that. They all go together. Everything goes together. You know what I'm saying? It's a real gift. But yo, let's fast forward to, I don't know. I don't want to claim this outright. I might switch my mind the minute I leave the studio here. But my favorite album of you, if I had to pick, it was The Knower and the Doer. You know? The Knower and the Doer. You put that out. When you put that out, it was on, the instrumentals were there. I love the instrumentals. I love them by himself. I love them with your tracks on, you know, with your verses on them. There's great stuff here. Look at Solutions here. You know, the way you kick off songs, behold, from the soul to the toe, I speak this from mouth to ear, and you keep going. I'm not going to keep rhyming it. I'm going to keep butchering it. And the reason I say that is because, Noah, you use this inflection where at the end of every bar, you almost spit out the rhyming bar, you know what I mean? And you hit an inflection peak. Like it's real high all the time. It doesn't matter how fast or how slow you are, you always spit it that way. You know what I mean? It always comes out like that. It's real unique, you know? Not a lot of guys do that, you know what I mean? Is that something you ever take notice of, like that you do that?
I don't know. Maybe, or I don't know. I guess this is the way I rhyme.
Yeah. So like if you'll say like the Knower and the Doer, you'd be like the Knower and the Doer, you know, like you do that, you know, like it always comes out like that, yeah. Because you know everybody knows that like, when I do these shows and I'm listening to you, I'm listening to that said artist like for over a week and shit, you know what I mean? So I talk like you now all the time though, like it's all week. I'm going, you know, I'm punctuating like that, you know, I'm scolding my kids like that and shit, you know what I mean? Like, but and you know. When I meant that it's non-preachy, is that you'll throw in things as a lifestyle, like beware the indoctrination, but you'll put it in the hustler's mode, you'll put it in the survival mode, you'll put it in the street mode. There's a lot of jewels that get thrown in here, you know what I'm saying? And the music that Doer gave you, it's just great. Somebody got to pay. I got to give salute to Doer because there's a guitar lick in there, but it's almost like he's playing the guitar lick. It's coming in when he feels like it. Parts of it are coming in, parts of it are not. And the way he produced it, it's not messing up your pocket. You know what I'm saying? And it's just really great stuff. You know what I mean? Sometimes producers could do something crazy and the MC don't like it because it messes up their pocket. Like they're concentrating on it too much and it's stumbling them. But it doesn't mess with you at all. You know what I mean? Then the teachings, it got like a cut lick, you know, from a classic soul song. I'm not going to snitch. You know what I mean? And that worked great because you have to really know what it was, though. That's a real good chop. You know what I mean? But you do it here, too, like as an example of what I was talking about. Where you go see you through like a Feji, you know, motherfucker, do you greasy, you know, like the way you kick on that, you know what I mean? It's like your rhyming bar is a kick, you know? It's almost like a snare, the way you do it, you know what I mean? It's really dope, you know what I mean? Superb. The short bars, you know what I'm saying? I noticed that even when you have very short bars, you still keep that inflection high, you know what I mean? It doesn't hurt the flow. Like, is there a practice, like, you know, when you MC, right? And you get these verses written down, though, do you make takes of them? Do you practice them? You know what I'm saying? Are you doing things to perfect to flow, like the way you get this all out?
I just go to the beat.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, the way I'm,
You know,
yeah.
maybe you go over it a few times and you drop it, but you know.
Right. Definitely. You know what I mean? There's great stuff here. Off the premises, the beneficent, raw, pure eminence, out the tenements. You know what I mean? And that rhymes easy for anyone to say it, but you're not saying it the way I said it. You know what I'm saying? You're inflecting
Yeah.
high without losing the flow. You know, for the listener, when you listen to that, make note that that's hard to do. You know what I'm saying? Because if you try to throw an inflection like a peak or something on bars that are that short, that's where you stumble. You know, you stumble. You have to have a good flow because you'll be off beat pretty soon. You know, and doesn't happen here. No, the Noah the flood. You know what I mean? But the starts to your verses too, though. You know what I mean? Like timeless. Get this in your own proper time. Like the understanding that whole bar right there. The whole verse was on point. You know what I mean? And then Africa's finest. You know what I mean? That was an interesting track, though. The beat changes on there. Was it like that when you got it, or was that something where it was like two songs put together? What was that like? You know, because
What's two songs put together? You know
on
what I'm saying?
Africa's finest, the last track on the Noah and the Doer, the beat switches there. It gets faster. You know what I mean?
Slash stacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. That merged so well, and I like you on faster stuff. You know, it gives you a more frenetic energy. You know what I mean? It really works though. But I thought that was a great record. That was one of the best records of 2020 for me. You know, and salute to the doer. You know what I mean? Because that was great work.
Yeah.
Now, when you do an album like The Piece with the Magnetic, you know, it's a album cover with Garvey on it. And I noticed you do that a lot on the covers, though. The covers where you have like you had Elijah, you know, on the Dirty Diggs album, Infallible, and then you had Garvey, but you also take out some of the face for like scenery. You know, it's an interesting look. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, I can't take credit for that. You know what I mean?
Indeed. Yeah.
The artist got a lot to do with that. You know what I mean?
It's good stuff. Salute to that artist that made that because it gives you character. It really fits the character of what you're giving out there. You know what I mean? Because you know one thing like the gods emceeing. You know what I mean? Like people keep talking about like what's out there in rap and stuff like that, but when we talk about the best music, the gods are dominating. You know what I mean? There's no way about it, though. You know, and you're part of that. You know, and you're now part of that echelon. You know, with the Piece with the Magnetic. Tell me about this album because it's most of your albums are with one producer, and then now you decided to pick this one. Is it harder collecting for an album than just one producer?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe.
See, when you're
you're going through all the heat, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, you know, you gotta put it all together.
What makes
but one producer, you just knock out batches.
Got you. Yeah, and the batches that they give you, you know what I mean? With any of these producers that you worked with, were you ever like throwing batches back, or you just work with the batch that they give you? What goes on like that? Because how are you getting the best stuff? You know what I mean? Or at least for me, you're getting my favorite stuff out of these producers. You know?
So how I'm getting the best stuff?
Yeah. For me, you know what I mean? Yeah, they're giving you the best stuff. You know what I mean? Or you're picking the best stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm picking. It gotta be that. It gotta be I'm picking it.
Yeah.
I mean, the producers gotta know that. You know what I mean? Like, he's picking these.
I think now that as producers know the way you rhyme too, they're trying to tailor things for you too, and it makes producers have to give you a more musical track. You know what I mean? And with the Piece with the Magnetic, how long did this album take you? You know what I mean? Because it's you deciding finally what's going to be on it. So you're really doing most of the legwork here. You know what I mean?
Probably like a month and a half, like that.
I mean, that's
but, It might have been a joint on there that I have, like the features, the joint I got with Melanin 9 and Flash and Jay Nice and them. I had that for like about 2 years. But
I got you. Right.
Listen to that album, I knocked that out.
Yeah, because the features, yeah. Also, Wise Intelligent, though, which is a very unique feature there, too. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one. Why he dropped that on the studio? He dropped that.
Yeah, he doesn't do many features either, though. You know what I mean? He doesn't do many features, and he really came through with that one. You know, that makes it a rare album. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
And you know what's interesting is that you got a lot of the up and coming producers here, though. Like not just Mali Empire, definitely got to be considered though, because I think it's quality enough for other people too. Hobgoblin, who's really making his name now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of course, Architect continues to shine on your stuff, you know what I mean? And Gallo Point, you know, we're going to talk about soon. But who's been shining throughout the whole 2010s, you know, really. But that was another strong album, though, you know what I'm saying? A unique album for me was Respectfully. I was very surprised you working with Stu Bangers because, like I said, Noah the Flood is like an evil example of everything that people are doing wrong with, you know, purest boom bap, and you're making it work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know why and I say that because I don't know why people get mad. I don't know why people get mad with drum, you know, different styles, drumless beats, shorter songs, because there's so many guys that are doing it as yourself that are really quality, that it's worth it. You know what I'm saying? It's worth it. You know, it brings something to the table. But Noah, you working with Stu Bangers is like your boom bap proof card. You know what I mean? Like if somebody says, "Oh, he don't do the boom bap," you got a Stu Bangers album. But even Stu Bangers gave you stuff that is way more, is probably his most progressive stuff. You know, if you watch Stu Bangers, you listen to his albums like the great Vanguard album with Mr. Liff. You listen to other albums he's done. You listen to his instrumental albums. He always gives you the classical break is going to be in his tracks. But then on a lot of these songs, they're not there. They're in a different way. Like Black, there's a bass drum thump, and then the bass line rumbles throughout, comes in and out. There are hard drum knocks, but they're at a different total pacing than what he usually gives. For me, it's Noah the Flood. For some reason, you're challenging all of these producers here, and they're giving you stuff that is like. Because I'll tell you this, I hear a lot of music. I want to hear the next shit. And I'm telling you listeners, like, you want to hear great boom bap? There's a lot of people out there. You want to hear the next shit? It's a Noah the Flood is going to give you the next shit. That shit like, oh, yeah, that new sample, that new flow. You know what I mean? New shit. And
yeah.
This was that, Spike Lee's. Let me, I just got to throw a couple of bars out there. Walking through the lessons while investing in the mess. Show and prove, stand corrected is the method. You know, you'll say stuff like that and just drop it in there. You know what I mean? And it'll be in the middle of some crazy shit that you say. You know what I mean? It's just great stuff. It's just great stuff. I don't want to say that was my favorite Stu Bangers of 2020 because I love Vanguard with Mr. Liff. But I'll give y'all a tie because that shit was amazing. You know what I mean? And it came out of nowhere for me. You know, even the album cover with that gross ass rat and shit. You know what I mean? Or was that Tekashi? I don't know. I couldn't see too good. You know what I mean? The photo was blurry. You know what I mean? But great work. But let's conclude here in this rundown. You know what I mean? This rundown of the catalog of Noah the Flood. And the reason that's why I wanted to do the show because I wanted people to know the worth of this catalog. You know what I mean? And just us wax on it a little bit. But once you came out with Right Over Left this year with Giallo, Giallo Point to me, one of the great producers in this, what I call this invisible renaissance. A great sample driven. He knows his drums. And you know what he had? You know, he's a triple threat as a producer because he's got the sample game, he's got the drum game, but he's got the DJ game. You know, he could cut your shit up. You know what I mean? And he did all that on this record, and it's just a great record. Once this record came out, Noah, I was like, yeah, I gotta contact the God, because then I'll be way behind. I'm already way behind. You know what I'm saying? We're building with the God, but there's some great stuff on this record. You know what line stays in my head every time I see somebody now? Every time I see them, I think of Oasis Flow, and I said, you know, you bought Jordan, I bought Jordans, I bought weapons. You know. Now every time I see a nigga with Jordans, I'm like, yeah, I bought weapons. It's a great line and shit. You know what I mean? Yo, take notice though. Like I said, I don't know how you're doing these records different. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm the one that's telling you this though. Like you're just doing things really off a natural flow. But Texas Toast, you know, like I would use that song to give as a reason your flow can chop or the bars be short, is because when you rhyme, not a lot of them, to me, everyone that I remember hearing, they all are syllabally arranged. You know what I'm saying? Like they're perfectly arranged syllabally. So they're not just rhyming at the end, they're rhyming throughout. So you can almost, because they're such short bars, they sound like internal rhymes. You know what I mean? Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not, because they're not, the whole statement is made in that short little bar. It's just great stuff, you know what I mean? It also lets you pause, it lets you rhyme a more crowded bar if you want. You're doing all types of shit on that song. And throughout, you know what I mean? But it's great songs. Cookie Crew, you know, lines like when, you know, mariachi band when the plane land. That's just good lines there. It's just, that's bar work, you know what I mean? Like, we know where a nigga at, though, when he say that shit, you know what I mean? By the way, salute, you know, my favorite song there was Flash Flood, because it's something that producers don't do that well anymore, but or that they're not appreciated for. The piano intro, the way he introed that piano into the break, and Giallo uses a lot of filtered drums, you know what I'm saying? And they come off nice, you know. And if you want to know, listener, what a filtered drum is, it's like it sounds like it's in a basement, like you're hearing it, but it's 2 levels below you. You know what I mean? And he does that with the drums there. And then I could snitch on this, but he's got that nice Rotten Rascals sample there. You know what I mean? Which is dope, though. That was always a favorite song of mine from them. But that was their hit. But you said Driven Extracurricular. Yeah, this right here is Cinema. Original soundtrack of Sinister. Yo, I was like, yo, that's Noah the Flood music. That's what it is. You know what I mean? That's Noah the Flood music. How long did it take to make this record?
Man, a couple months.
What was it, picking and choosing? Was it just coordinating, you know, the tracks? How was it though?
Probably like coordinating.
Mm-hmm. You know, are there any songs that you do that you're like, you know, I don't like the way this came out, I'm gonna do it again, or do you just scrap them? Because it feels like these are all like the way they feel like in the studio. I make them, and that's how they come out. But are there ever songs where you're like, yo, I want to work on this more, or work this over again?
I've done that before.
Work them over, that is, right?
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, a lot of things get scrapped and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed. Yeah, and there's just great stuff on here. You know what I'm saying? 11 tracks. There's like it's 11 tracks, but they're quick. 2 minute, 3 minutes is like an epic song here. There's only one track I see here went 3 minutes, and they're all short, but they're filled. They're very crowded. You know what I'm saying? Great stuff. How dare you compare my paradigm, pair of lines? You know, it's the way you couple things together. You know, never by propaganda or delusions of grandeur you start a verse like that. You know what I mean? This ain't bean pie science. Now, Cypher, I don't preach nonviolence. That was rugged, though, right there. As the guys, we appreciate that. You know what I mean? But one of the best albums of the year, and I think one of the unrecognized, Right Over Left. You know what I'm saying? 2021's best record. You know what I mean? One of its best records. A must have to me. And you're slowly making yourself into really an essential MC in this era, Noah. You know what I mean? I definitely want to thank you for everything that you're doing and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's great work. It's inspiring, though. You know what I mean? It's the next shit. It's the next shit stuff, God, and you've been doing it.
Oh,
so
what it is, man.
Who are you working with now? Like, what are you working with now? Is it more work with Mali Empire, or is there a producer that you're working with now that you can divulge?
I mean, yeah, it's more, you want to get some more stuff in the Mali Empire. Got a project with Casablanca dropping. As far as I go, like I got some stuff dropping. Right Over Left. That was just checking the temperature out here. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
I know people doing the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? That's so light work. You got to get your giallo. You know what I mean?
Definitely please though. Yo, appreciate you, God. Supreme, thank you for all you do, being a guest on our show, making these works that inspire. You know what I'm saying? That inspire and expand what hip hop could be. And what this music could be. You know what I mean? It seems what I've gotten is that it seems effortless to you, but it's a lot of pushing of the envelope that's happening when you make your music. You know what I mean? So I salute you on that. But definitely thank you for being on. And go to Noah the Flood. Follow Noah the Flood on IG. Follow his music. Let him know what you think. You know what I'm saying? And until next time, there'll be a lot more stories to tell, writings to recite, and records to rewind and reminisce. For my guest, Noah the Flood, peace to the God. I'm your host, Sunyaz Allah, a.k.a. Skilla Straight Low. And as always, the Power Right Show is a never respect fake broadcast. Peace.